So it is. Welcome to part 3, protecting resources. So we can have users sign up for their accounts. We can have users log in with those accounts that they've created. Last part of this is, can we make it so that people can only do some things when they're logged in? This is protecting resources. So just like before, there's a couple steps to this. We are going to, oops, did I cut out the bottom of that? Oh, it's not even in the thing. Well, all right, it's not that hard. So we need to check that a token exists, and then we need to decode a token, and then we do whatever we want with the stuff that's inside the token. So we're going to do, just like we've done the last couple times, I'm going to have you guys do parts 1 and 2 on your own. Then I'll do it. We can pick up any missing pieces that we got. And then I'm going to do part 3, and then we'll do it together, and then you'll do it on your own. Sound like a plan? Sounds like a plan. All right, so to start with, why don't you create some users and authenticate them? I'm going to put 10 minutes on the clock. Go for it. These are the steps. 1 minute. All right, so I want to see Fist to 5. Fist is what were we doing? 1 is I barely got anything done. 5 is I got a token coming back at the end. Throw them up, hold them up. All right, cool. So let's go back over this. Let's practice. So we're gonna call this one window blinds. Oh, well, Rails knew it. Rails new -- API window blinds. Cool. So step 1, install bcrypt. Uncomment out that line. Bundle and should probably actually go into the thing. Window blinds. And then bundle install. Then use a route to create a user. So we'll say resources, users, solamente, create. Cool, then we'll create a controller to create a user. It is so. Username. And a password, and we'll just fire it right on back to them. Render JSON, and then tell them that it was created. Cool. So we create a user model with a secure password. Rails G model user has secure password. And then if we go over to the migration for that and add the username and the password digest with a hash. Cool. That's all of our stuff. So we can Rails DB migrate. And if we serve that up and punch it in the nose with Postman, we get back a user thing with a hash password. Brill. All right, now let's log in with that user. So we're going to create a login route. Router. So we'll say any post request to login should go to an authentication controller's login method. Oops, was mad? Oh, there we go. Cool. And then we need that authentication controller. So we'll generate controller authentication. It is so. Now we're going to create the login controller in action. So we made the controller. Let's make the action. So we'll call that action login. And first thing we need to do is look up the user they're sending us. I think is our thing there. Look up the user. Say user.find by, because we want to find them by some property, not just by their ID. Cool. If that user doesn't exist, then we want to fire off something error-y. Cool. How do we check their password? Well, we say if they weren't able to authenticate, that's one of our magic methods that we get out of bcrypt. Params password. Then we also want to do something kind of error-y. Now, assuming both of those things check out, our happy path is that we want to make a token, put some of the stuff from this user object in there, and send it on back. So we'll start with the payload, which will have their user ID and maybe their username. You want a secret. You got one baked in right now. Rails.application.secrets.secret key base. And then we want to use those to make a jot. So to do that, we have to add a jot to our gem file. Like so. And bundle install our new dependency. Sweet. And then we get this super cool JWT class that we can use that has this awesome encode method that takes in a payload and a secret. Now all we got to do, send that on back. Sweet. Let's see if it works. See, I installed a new dependency, so I got to restart my server. But if we go over here and change that post from users to login, I should get a token. And so I do. That is steps 1 and 2. So if you were not able to get there, let's give you some code to work with.
I'm still running into the same issue I had yesterday about the host thing.
Oh, with your Rails 6 issue? Shoot.
I don't know if it's a Rails 6 issue. Like using your repo or my repo, I get the same error.
Curious. Let's debug that before we move on. But I want to get this up here in case anybody wants to pull it down. Window blinds API. All right, so there's that, and I'm throwing it in chat if you would prefer to use my starter code than yours. All right, Jason, why don't you go ahead and screen share again, and let's figure this one out, because we're not the only person who's ever going to run into this problem.
So do you want me to serve it up?
Yes, please.
Oh, no, I got a weird one. Sign route path. Oh yeah, I didn't finish that.
Make that a post. You don't want to log in to be bookmarkable. Make that authentication. Good. Okay, so let's try this. Let's go to your global environment setup. It's under config environment RB. Nope. Yeah, that one. Shoot. All right, back over to development. So it's config environments development. Yeah. All right, and let's look at these. All right, now let's put that code back in, shovel in the localhost. Cool. Now save that, restart your server. Okay. They come back the same?
Yeah.
Okay, go to your server
maybe
log.
should I be at login though?
Yes, you absolutely should.
And still the same.
Okay, go. Let me see your server logs real quick. HTTP parse malformed request. Invalid HTTP format parsing fails. Okay, go to your Postman. Raw JSON. That looks okay. That looks okay. Let me see your headers. Okay. Okay. And, Rails 6. Okay, here's another one we can do. Go to your development config file, that thing that we shoveled, get rid of that line and just change it to config.host equals nil. Yeah.
Save and restart.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, now we got a normal problem. Yeah, you're missing a comma there in your payload.
oh.
All right, keep working through those, but you got straightforward problems now, not weird
Thank
problems. All right, so let's talk about this third part here, protecting resources. So this is the window blinds API. So you only get to see the catalog if you're logged in. So we're going to go over to our routes and make a catalog listing route.
You aren't sharing your screen.
Oh, I should probably do that. That would make more sense. All right. So I'm going to take this catalog, and I only want the index route for this. So then I want a controller that matches up with that. And in that controller, I want an index method, and we're going to say start by happy path. Check out all our lovely blinds. So if I did that correctly, I should be able to hit that route as anyone. I can do a get request to catalog. Helps if I run the server. All right, so I get a message back. The thing I'm trying to have happen is I can't see that message unless I sent a valid token. So here's how you send that token over. We go back to the login. So you want to take this token, and you're going to have your client send it over in an authorization header. So in Postman, you can fake that out by going over here to authorization, going to bearer token. And again, just watch me for now. We'll do it all together in a sec. And then paste in the token. So what that does is it just adds this header in. The key is authorization. The value is the word bearer and then your token. And that's how you do it in Postman. But all it is just another header. It's just like content type application JSON. This one's authorization, bearer, and then whatever the token is. So we send that over. First thing that we want to do is test for the presence of a token. So we can say something like, we're trying to get the headers out. We could say something like headers is request. I think might be lowercase r. Request.headers. And then we specifically want the authorization header. So we'll take headers authorization. And then that header will be bearer space and then the token. So how am I going to get the token out of that?
Is it like authorization header dot bearer?
Almost. This is just one big long string that I'm going to get. I just want the second part of it though.
Do you need to like split the string?
Yeah. So my token is my authorization header dot split and then index 1. So I'm gonna tell it that I actually want that. All right, so then I have this token. So we'll start out by saying if there's no token, then we render an error. See if it works. So if I turn off this authorization header, all right, it's gone now. Oops, still got it. Throw a buy bug in here and see what we got going on. Oh, it's because I'm still going to the login route. That would make sense. Take that buy bug out. I'm making a get request to catalog, and it does not have a header. Oop, undefined method split for nil. All right. So let's throw a buy bug here and see what we got going on. All right, it hangs. What do headers look like? So many headers. Beautiful. What does authorization header look like? Nothing. All right, so we want to find, let's see, I'll just look up the docs. Rails headers request. Request.headers. Cool. So then I should be able to do request.headers and see all that come back. Request.headers authorization. Nothing. What about lowercase? Did it normalize it? Nope. What about as a symbol? Nope. Oh, duh, because I didn't send one over. Losing my stupid mind. But that leads to this issue. What's the issue here? It's on that line. Why is this mad at me?
Are you trying to do that before sending it over?
Well, I didn't send over an authorization header.
So it doesn't have one?
So it doesn't have one. So why is it exploding?
If you didn't send over a header, it doesn't know what you're sending over, like JSON or whatever.
Right? But it's specifically with this line, the one I have highlighted.
Is it not stringified?
No, it's not. It's so authorization header right now is nil. So why is it exploding?
Split now?
You can't split nil. So how about we do this? How about, instead of checking for that, we check for the presence of an authorization header. Yeah, I like that. Kill that off. Now let's see what happens. Nice try, asshole. Didn't send over an authorization header. Now, if we send over an authorization header, it should let us write in. I copy that guy over. And say, all right, I want to send a bearer token. Check out all of our lovely blinds. All right, we're doing good so far. Now we want to decode that token. So this is the exact opposite process we went through in our authentication controller, where with this, we took a secret and a token, a secret and a payload, and made it a token. Now we want to take a secret and a token and make it a payload. So we'll grab our secret again, rails.application.secrets. Secret keybase, and make our payload jot.decode token secret. Now there's one gotcha on this, on decode. Decode brings back an array. We only want the first thing back. So then I have this payload hash, and I might be able to do something like payload username. Cool. Let's see if that works. Hey, look, it knows who I am. Ta-da, that's it. Ask me some questions about this. We'll probably clean this up. It's a little bit nicer. So let's review. Nothing different in our authentication controller. All that does is give us back a token. We added a route that we wanted to protect. And in that route, we got the authorization header. If they didn't send us an authorization header at all, no go. They're not even trying to say that they're logged in. Otherwise, we grab the token part out of the header. We take the secret. We use those two things to get the payload. And then we do whatever we want with it. Pretty cool. Neat. Let's see if you guys can help me do it. I'm going to get checkout master, all of it. RM app controllers, cool, RM test controllers catalog. All right, so I'm back at the end of step 2 now. I want you guys to help me through this. So Ashley, give me a step. Unmute.
So you have to have, you had a catalog controller.
Yeah, so catalog was the thing so this is a window blinds company protecting the catalog. Only our logged in users can see the catalog. It can be whatever though, something to protect.
Okay. But so I think basically what you had in there was kind of a response to show that the token had been authenticated.
Yep.
So, and
We're one step getting closer to that.
you have to be able to kind of interpret the payload. I know that much.
So this is way before
sorry.
that. What's the first thing in code that I can add that'll get me closer to that? I got nothing right now. We're at the end of step 2. Could be a route, could be a controller. I got to make something.
There was a spot in routes, I think, but I don't remember right now.
Okay. What's the thing that we're going to protect?
We're protecting the password and their personal information and the token.
No, for the API. What's the thing I only want logged in users to see, to have access to?
Just their like username. And
nope. Think like in terms of what is this application? It's an API for a window blinds company. Some of the stuff logged in users are the only ones who can see. Other ones anybody can see. That's what we're trying to do with this, is make it so that some stuff some people can see, other stuff other people can't see. So make up something for this window blinds company that they want only logged in users to see.
Oh, so if that's the case, then they would only want them to be able to see their own profile information.
Sure, why not?
Yeah,
only
like
logged
the
in
data
users.
blinds section or whatever, orders.
Yeah, orders. I like it. So only a logged in user can see orders. So if I'm doing that, give me something that I can add for orders.
Sorry.
Big buddy.
I don't know, they called it like inverted sneezing.
Okay, so if I want to like protect orders, before I can even protect them, they need to exist. So what am I doing?
So that was what I was thinking, is like you'd want to have the controller for orders.
Sure. Rails G controller orders. I'll take it. Yulia, give me another step.
So inside the controller order, you should to create a method.
Okay. So what's the thing that I'm gonna protect on this? Which method?
Index.
Sure. Okay, very nice. Nolan, give me another step.
So you're gonna need to have to send the token back from the client.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to need to, in your index method, get the headers from request.headers.
Okay.
Save it in a variable.
Okay. What am I calling the variable?
Headers.
Okay. What else?
Then you need to get the authorization part of the headers.
Okay, a thing to note that's going to trip you up. This is a string. It's not a symbol. Same thing with when we get our payload back. Our payload is going to come back with string keys, not symbol keys. That will screw you up at least once in this process. All right. Thank you, Nolan. Let's see. Blake, give me another step.
In the controller or just in general?
In general.
I mean, you still need to have a route created.
Hey, I like that. Still got to have a route. So how do I route to that action?
Resources, and then what was it? Orders or orders. And I think you're only specifying for index right now, so only
Correct.
Index.
Love it. Looking good, looking good. James, give me another step.
So then you can do the if there's no authorization header.
Good. So if there's no header, what happens if there's no header?
Then you'll just render JSON error, and then when nice try asshole or whatever.
Okay. Let's throw
And
a
then
status
status
on there too.
unauthorized.
Okay, very nice. Jason, give me another step.
Sorry, I was debugging. I missed it.
Okay. So you might be able to intuit your way to a next step on this one. So I've got an authorization header that I was sent.
Then you
if
got to
that header
compare the
doesn't
token.
exist, what was that?
You got to compare the token.
So almost, I need to, right now I just have this authorization header. And that header, when it's right, will be the word bearer and a space and then the token. I just want the token
So you,
part of it.
okay, so you need to split the header string.
Yeah. Split. And then I want the second part of it. Okay, very nice. Ashley, give me another step.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Well, I have the token. I'm trying to get the payload. This is one of the ingredients for that. What's the other ingredient?
So if the token came in as an array, then that specific part that you have now, is that an object?
No, so it's just a string. So the token will be this. I had to split it up because it got sent over like this, and I don't want this bearer part of it. I just want the second part.
Okay.
So now that I have that token, there's one other piece that I need. What is it?
If you have the token, you need to authenticate it.
Yep. So I'm going to do that with jot decode, but what is the other thing that I need for jot decode?
I'm going to say this is the part where you actually said that something in here is going to be wonky.
A little, this is the step before that, but I'll give you a hint. So this is how we made the token. We're trying to reverse this.
Oh, well, then you need your secret.
Well, then we need the secret. It works the exact same way. Cool. So Yulia, how do I take this token and secret and get my payload back?
So you should put payload equal JWT, decode, and inside the parentheses token and secret.
Good.
Point first.
Yeah, so this is the weird part of this, is that jot.encode just gives me the token back. Easy. Jot.decode, that gives us back an array, and we only want the first thing back in the array. That's just a weird thing. Just memorize it. All right, so I have the payload. Nolan, bring us home.
So last time we rendered a JSON message. And the message interpolated. So like the message would be a string, and you could say like, check out your catalog, and then interpolate payload with a key name.
Yep. So keep in mind too that payload string keys. So this needs to be like user that or that. Maybe something like that. So if we do all that, and I am sending over this token, and I try to get orders. Cool, check out the orders for Kyle, whose user ID is 1. Hey, what if I screw up that token? Just put an X in there. Oop, couldn't decode it. So this means we want to do, so we have this error here. Here's how we're going to catch that. This is somebody who didn't give us a valid token. Have we talked about try and catch before, ever? That idea? What's the idea? Can anybody give me what the idea behind try and catch is?
I've read about catch, but not try.
It's not called try. It's not called try catch in Ruby. The idea is generally called try and catch. It's called begin rescue in Ruby, but it's the same thing.
It's basically error handling. So when you get an error back, you can give a customized message or something or an action.
Exactly. So in our case, if this jot decode doesn't work, that means that they didn't give us a valid token. So we can't use if for this. It's an actual error. And so what we do is we type begin and then rescue for this. So our rescue means that an error happened while you were doing that. Then we tell them that token didn't work. Otherwise, we do that. All right, so now let's see. I put this E in here. All right, so that works. If I break the token, just put some random character in there, I get bounced back. Therefore, only people with actual accounts can log in and see their orders or whatever. Another thing you might do in this, if this was like a real orders app, is since I have the user ID in this payload, maybe I do something like orders equals order dot where user ID is payload user ID. And that's going to give me only my orders. That's the kind of cool shit you can do with this.
So there, the key doesn't have to be a string.
Oop. Yes, it does. Sorry. So we could do something like that if we wanted to. A conversation for another day is we can actually take almost all of this logic and put it in application controller so that anything that wants to authenticate can reuse that. This is fine for right now, though. Questions about this? Cool, your turn. So give it a shot. This one's a little bit shorter, so I'm going to put 4 minutes on. See how far you can get on your own, and then we'll do it one more time. Go. All right, pencils down. So let me see, a fist to five. Five means that you got it working. One is I did not even close. Throw them up, hold them up. Cool, thank you. So let's do this one more time. Oops. All right, back to basics. So we're going to do contact. Got to be able to be logged in to make a contact thing. Rails G controller contacts. And over in the router, we route to it. Only thing that we'll do is the create. And then in our contacts controller, make a create method. All right, so nothing too wild that far. Now we want to get the authorization header. Oops, what am I doing? This is in request.headers authorization. Very nice. Now, if that header doesn't exist, you're not even trying. Let's say must be logged in. And then elsewise, let's try to decode the payload out of the jot. So we get the payload here with authorization header, split it on the space. And we only want the token, not the word bearer. Then we get the secret. Like that. And then we're going to try to decode the jot into the payload. So we do begin and rescue, and we say jwt.decode, decode the payload with the secret, or verify it with the secret, and then only give me back the first thing you get back. If there were any problems with that, then we send back an error. Otherwise, that's not the token, it's the payload. What am I doing? Come on, token. We get the token out of the header, we decode the payload out of it, and then we do whatever. We could look something up with the user. We can do whatever we need. But regardless, it worked.
On line 13, headers is spelled wrong.
Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Oh, yes it is. Cool. See if it works. All right, that's running. I log in. I take the token I was given. I'm making a request to contacts. It's a post request. I send over an authorization header. I don't need to send any of that. Must be logged in as a valid user, but I am a valid user. So it had some problem decoding that token. Interesting. Let's debug it.
I thought you decode the token and not the payload.
Oh, it helps if I use the right words. That'll do it. All right, I'm logged in, baby. And if I fuck up that token, no go. Questions?
I have one question.
Yeah.
On the postman, can you go to the postman? So you just copy your token and paste it to this line, right?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
So what that looks like on the front end is when you're sending your fetch request, you send an authorization header that looks like that. It's the exact same way that you've been doing like content type application JSON, same kind of thing. You just send that instead. And then when you get that token, when you log in, another day we'll talk about local storage, but it's 2 lines of code. You can save that in your browser and access it, even like when you reload, that kind of stuff. Cool. Other questions? All right, one last thing I want to show you to finish out this series. How you would put all of this somewhere where it's repeatable. So let's say I also have an update method. Okay, well, when I do my update, it's going to be almost all of the same code. Well, that sucks. So what you can do is make an authenticate method and put like just about all of this in there. So if I copy this whole thing in, then I can make it so that these don't have to do any of that stuff. And then just do something like authenticate. Cool. Now, here's where this gets crazy. I can also take this method and put it, so this is inheritance. This controller is inheriting from this controller. Remember what you know about inheritance. We're getting all of its state, all of its behavior. So if I go over to that application controller, come on now. If I throw that method in there, huh, cool. That still works. Still has an authenticate method. Even better, I can use this before action macro to run that authenticate method for particular actions, like that. Or let's say anybody can create, only logged in people can update. Cool. And maybe the neatest part of this, all right, so that's the payload. Maybe I grab the user.find payload user ID. Guess what? I have @user available in any of those methods. pretty dang cool. So I'm not too terribly worried if you can't do that right away. But I wanted you to see that it is possible to just extract out that whole process to a method. Cool. Other questions? Something you might be interested in. I think we're doing that node lesson, node auth lesson later today. I think that one's at 4. Even if you don't know anything about node, you might be interested in that one because the process is almost exactly the fucking same. If I go over to like a real app that actually does this stuff. Oh shoot, that's one I abstracted a lot in that one. Hang on. Let me find another one. Oh crap, do I have one? Oh yeah, I have one here. Hey, weird, if I'm authenticating a user, I check to see if they have that header, and if they don't, I send back a thing. Otherwise, I split the authorization header and take the second thing and make that the token. And then I do a jot verify with that token and the secret key. The stuff's the same. It's a concept. That's the Firebase site, by the way. Making a user. All right, well, I take their username and password. You have to do everything way more manual in Node, just in general. You have to hash their password. And then you create a user with a password digest. Stuff's the same. Cool. Hopefully this was educational, but I see a whole lot of skills that you didn't have 3 days ago. So go write some auth. Bye.